Welcome to another edition of the Good Eye Podcast. My name's Jay Smack, your host for this series of conversations, this platform of positivity. That's kind of a new tagline, if you will. I've been searching for a good way to sum up the Good Eye Podcast and what it is we do here, because it's kind of a wide swath, but really not. It was born out of a desire to put some positive stuff, some awareness, some engagement back in to the awareness zeitgeist, as it were, just because there's so much negativity. There's plenty of negativity, so much that I think people identify the state of the world as really, really negative these days. I just don't see it that way. Sure, there's some negative stuff out there, and there's plenty of platforms for people who want to be negative and want to spread negativity and just, get behind their wall of lack of awareness and lob opinion grenades from behind the wall. So this is more of a space where it's all out there. We have conversations with people who are trying to make a difference. Now, that said, maybe not everybody considers every cause featured here a positive cause. Nonetheless, you got to have the conversations, and I think that's what we don't do enough of these days. Today we're talking to Tom Dorney. Tom is a veteran. He's in the Northeast. He's a director level manager, if you will, or director with ReGroup, which is an organization that engages veterans and tries to integrate them back into society and help them with resources, with a special emphasis on addiction and homelessness and things of that nature. He's heavily involved with Veterans Affairs. He wants to eradicate veteran suicide and homelessness. No small task, obviously. All kinds of stuff comes up. The Smokin and Jokin podcast, which he's involved with and a frequent guest. Mission 22, other podcast host and activist Richard Kaufman. You can find him online at regroup4vets.com. Convene Collab comes up. All kinds of cool stuff. You heard of equine therapy? He talks about a ranch in Colorado that works with wolf therapy. Really, just we go down the rabbit hole. So sit back, relax, hopefully get something positive out of it. His contact info will be on the podcast site. You can always reach me at jay@jaysmack.com. That's Jay for the Jays. And let's jump right into it. When you talk to Tom, you always hit the ground running, so we're going to do that. And here's my conversation with Tom Dorney of ReGroup on today's Good Eye Podcast.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no one more that I know of that's got more of an unfiltered mouth than I do, other than my father. So.
Now, that's good podcast, I tell you. Well, cool. Let's get rolling. Tom Dorney, man. Why don't we start there? You are with ReGroup, so let's start with your mission, and I want to hear a bit about this podcast. Podcasting, of course, is kind of close to my heart because I used to be, a long time ago, was in radio and then got into recording. I like the creative side a little bit more, and I don't like to be told what I can and can't say, which is perfect for podcasting, as you well know. So tell me about the ReGroup mission and what brought you to it, and a little bit about you.
Okay. ReGroup Foundation started in 2015. Right now, we're building a transition ranch for veterans. Our mission is to eradicate veteran homelessness, suicide, and other hardships, period. Founded by an Army Ranger medic, Antonio Ruiz, and his fiancee, Stephanie Sultan, mother of an Air Force vet. The 22 mission, and seeing the amount of 40,000 homeless on the streets of the USA, and the amount of suicides, incarcerations, and just the hardships that veterans are facing is near and dear to both of our hearts because we lived it. I lived through a really nasty transition 30 plus years ago. So when I found out what they were doing, you have your, when you connect to the Facebook, I'm a natural connector and collaborator. So I've kind of mastered it for the greater good. I ran across this organization where they're going to 18-month program, 3 phases. They're going to bring veterans in. It's a hand up. It's not a handout. So it's basically the intake process. I'm thoroughly getting together an intake process. You want to transition. You want to get back into society and do positive things. This is the organization to go through. So we're going to mentor you, teach you things like resumes, looking for jobs, translating your MOS, your specialty, your skills, and translate them into the civilian world. So alongside of that, the ranch is a concept ranch. It's only 6 acres. We're going to start small, make small mistakes. And we're also gonna have a huge grow field where we're gonna have agroponics, where we're gonna raise $750,000 a year, and then sustain ourselves from that point on. So we've been hands-on building the ranch for the past 3 years. I went out there a year and a half ago during COVID. Hands-on, meet the leadership of the organization, and kind of seal in my mind, is this the mission? This is what I want to do. It's my passion. Advocacy, connecting and collaborating for the greater good is what I'm passionate in doing. I do talk a lot about things I'm passionate about. I can go on and on. I have a reputation, but I'm a doer. I have a reputation of being a doer. So I see something like this, and I put 110% into it, and it shows. So it makes me feel good. People just say, that's somebody you want to connect with. If you're trying to start a nonprofit, you're trying to get an idea of how to do it, the nuts and bolts, form a board, how do you market yourselves? I connect the people together that can best advise and consult with these organizations. We see it on Synapse. We see it on Convene Communities, where I'm a community leader. We co-host a podcast called Smokin and Jokin. Military background, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit. Talk about your podcast.
So Smokin and Jokin runs off of Convene Communities, started by Matt Curran and myself. Matt Curran wanted to do this for a while. Another organization I work with called Vet Unite, which we're all about peer-to-peer support and mentorship, is, in my opinion, the only thing that's going to work to properly transition veterans and get veterans on the right path. So Smokin and Jokin, we shoot the shit, we tell our stories, we tell war stories, we crack on one another. Really cool logo with a compass with the flame in front of it, Smokin and Jokin. Rich Kaufman is in on it. He's another guy, big podcaster from Vertical Momentum. If you haven't heard of him, cross his path, you should definitely look this man up. Both of them have a similar story where the military was our thing. It's who we were, and we're forced to leave. And basically, we're going to end it. So we're big suicide prevention people, working with these organizations that deal with these issues, just mental health for the general public. We know what we're talking about. We know what works. We know what needs to be done. We have to stop talking about it. We have to start acting.
How'd you get started on this? You mentioned your difficult transition. How do you go from, someone with your background to all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, of course, but you mentioned you even work with other organizations, help get them started. You're a connector in the community. You're doing so much. It's kind of overwhelming.
I'm my father's son. My father was a restaurant manager, master networker. How you get ahead in life story, born and raised in Queens. I'm one of 8 kids, is you got to know who do you know? So he got big involved in the Salvation Army. He's been on missionaries to Haiti and things of that nature. It is take your skills, your people skills, and just life in general, and meet different people in different organizations to get shit done. So it's a great story how I got started on veteran advocacy. Is I was volunteering in a student lounge, a veteran lounge called an Oasis in Connecticut. I was going back to school, reinventing myself for the second time. And they invited me into the veteran committee with staff of the school and different shit. And they had no idea what they're doing. Disrespecting veterans. They had no idea what they were talking about. And it aggravated me. And I was born and raised, stop your whining and stop your bitching and do something about it. That's what sparked it. And when I got hands-on watching these young men and women off the battlefield, even today, navigating the VA and navigating the different resources, that's why I'm a resource and partnership director now, nationally, is I know who to go to. If I don't, I'll find it. It's just meeting people and, hey, do you know? Hey, do you know? Hey, do you know? And that's how it works. And the magic is on Synapse every day. Same with Convene. Hence the name. We can convene and collaborate. Look what the mottos of these organizations and people and what we do. And that's why I get fired up. And I miss Synapse when I'm away from it for a while. It just fuels me. Doesn't do great for a great marriage, but you do what you're passionate to do, and you're talking about veterans again. My wife just walks away. But yeah, I took a little break, stepped away for 2-3 months. The greatest thing I could have done personally for us, starting a new job, getting into the real world here next week, a 7 to 3:30 shift. I was working third shift for a while. It freed me up during the day to do a lot of stuff. But
so you're on days now? So
I'm on days, okay. 7 to 2:30. So
yeah, we talked a few months ago, and I think you were on nights. I was worried about getting you up today.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on I worked last night into this morning, and then I took off tomorrow. So I'm like, I'm good. I took a nice power nap, but yeah, my whole life's flipping upside down again. What else is new? I learned to transition. Hey, it's my middle name. It's deal with it, and that's what I'm about. I mean, I'm very passionate in meeting new people, hearing new stories, new things. And everybody in a Synapse or a Convene meeting, everyone's sitting there going, "Oh shit, you did what?
Some real.
You quit your job. You got a tiny home on wheels, and you're traveling the country to start it up. Wow, holy shit!
When was that?
That woman did that. It was a Synapse member.
Oh, I thought you meant. You're talking about Andrea.
I packed my truck and went out to Texas a year and a half ago, right in the middle of COVID. And they're like, "It gets hot down here, Tom." I'm like, all right. It shut my phone down twice. It was hot as a bitch. But you just dropped everything and left and went to Texas to check this out and an opportunity. I said, wow, holy shit.
Talk about getting stuff done.
Was you happy about that? I'm like, no.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Andrea Shipley. She just stopped everything, bought a bus, converted it, and travels the country now. I think she's in Virginia. Bus. Yeah. Just
like Antonio and Stephanie, they basically squatted on this property in New Braunfels, Texas, which is in Central Texas, with a customized bus, and just plopped down. And now we have electricity. The well house is in. Half the buildings are up. The property's cleared.
I don't know. I don't know them.
Yeah, well, they're the founders of ReGroup.
Oh, okay.
Antonio and Stephanie. We're building a swimming hole. The whole 9 yards. It's a slow go, but when you put something like this together, you got to dot your I's and cross your T's, and it takes funds. And COVID, of course, just
the way veterans have been treated in the past, and not even necessarily negatively, but apathetically, It's really criminal. What can people do? What should they know, and what can they do to help not only Regroup, but organizations like them, whether it's a Tech for Troops or a Troopster, and both of those are organizations within the Synapse community that I'm referencing, but any veteran organization looking out for, like you say, eradicating. Oh, and you mentioned Mission 22 or 22 mission, which is that there, and correct me if I'm mistaken, that there is a veteran suicide every 22 minutes, correct?
No.
Which one were you talking about? Because there's another mission, and I think that has now grown to about
Mission
20.
22 is, they've come up with the statistic 22 veterans a day commit suicide.
Okay,
But
my number's wrong.
that's not right, and they didn't account for particular states. I'm not going to get into it,
Okay.
whatever. But it's more along the lines of now statistically 24 to 26 veterans a day, and it's 34 first responders a day.
Mm-hmm. Wow, really? Damn. So how can people help Regroup and organizations like them?
Regroup, the number 4 vets.com is the website. There's the Facebook page. Check us out. Our mission is clearly labeled, is laid out on the site. Donate funds. We have a 2 cents campaign. You can watch the video. The guy from what's it called? Forge with Fire, the show. He's an Army Ranger. He's our bartender. But it's called the 2 cents campaign. It's a national campaign. Everyone could put their 2 cents in. It's basically everyone's affected by the suicide issue. Everyone knows someone who knows someone who, it's affecting the community as a whole. Look out to Regroup. But if you're a veteran or someone out there that needs to help a veteran, go to your state Veterans Affairs. There's also a website with a database called patriotlink.org or the IAVA, Afghanistan Veterans of America Quick Reaction Force. Just Google IAVAQRF. These are referrals for veterans to find the resources. They basically do what I do, but on a bigger level. I refer everyone. It's my first place I send somebody. You have the American Legion, the VFWs, your VSOs, your veteran service officers or whatever, but I like to go to the bigger ones that have a large database, that do an intake process and find you the resources you need. If not, you can contact me directly. I'm on Facebook, Tom Dorney. Reach out to Regroup, reach out to us, send us an email. If you're in crisis, you have your hotline. Everyone has their negative and positive things about the hotline, about the VA and everything else like that. Basically, reach out to somebody, a battle buddy, family member, to reach out on your behalf. A lot of it's pride, the mental health thing, or the pride, I don't need your help. I have a veteran up here, a Marine, living in the woods here during the winter, again, for the second winter, because she's too prideful to ask for help.
Is that what you mean by the positive and negative aspects? Is that sometimes people are too proud to ask for help? What do you mean by that?
Well, just the negative things that happen in the VA, the frustration of trying to navigate the system because it's so vast. The negative connotation of, I may have a mental health issue, but whole, on the most part, and I can speak myself personally on this, most of the time when a veteran is going through a transition, we'll call it a transition issue, or is having mental health issues. They don't even know it. They don't know. My key thing is reaching out to the caregivers, the family members, the people who hands-on, the wife, the mother, the people that see what's happening. They know what's happening. They think they know what's happening, but they don't know what to do. Is reach out to someone like me, reach out to someone like Regroup, reach out to your local Veterans Affairs, VFW, somebody to get you on the pipeline, to get that person help. I'm on the phone day in and day out with veterans in crisis all over the country. Just because Antonio and I, we call them fire missions, but you get to know the people who can facilitate and get the help to someone quickly. I had someone on the phone with a veteran counselor through the IAVA within 20 minutes.
I was going to ask you, where do you start? You know, when somebody reaches out to you, where do you even start? Because those
You start
wounds...
from the beginning. You start with identify the issue, identify the obstacles in the way. It could be a lot of them have family issues, legal issues, addictions, obviously the big ones, and myself personally. Find out where they're at. Do you want to help? I'm not gonna. I can hold your hand to a point, but I'm not gonna do it for you. I'm not gonna get upset you don't call or you don't do whatever or meet somebody. That's not how it works. I find out what the issue is, where they wish to go from there, and these people can help you. And then I refer them to organizations and different people that I've vetted. The big thing is vetting an organization or vetting somebody. Are they for real? So when Antonio and I or Richard Kaufman or people in our little network refer you somewhere, you're going to be taken care of. If they don't know what to do, they're going to know where to send you.
How do you go about doing that, vetting an organization that may not have the big profile?
Well, first off, for the general public, to vet an organization, you go to the larger ones, $1 million and above, the big nonprofits. You go to Charity Navigator. If not the regular run-of-the-mill nonprofits, you go to GuideStar. You check them out. If they don't have a profile fully set out, or at least where they have their financials, their mission, stay away from them. If you go to their websites, you go to these websites where nonprofits go and put their. If you go to their website and they don't have their financials or tax statements on their website, or they're 3 or 4 years old. But charity, the patriotlink.org, I highly recommend in the IAVA QRF, the Quick Reaction Force referral things. This is what these people do. They vet organizations. So if I refer an organization to them and I vetted them just by reputation, they're like, oh, we need to check these. Trust me, this organization will do good for you. Wounded Warrior Project screwed themselves up. The veterans don't trust them anymore, even though they're spending millions on their campaigns and public relations.
I know you can't really speak to the necessarily inner workings of that, but you hear rumblings about stuff like that. What are some things that contribute to that negative view, whether it's that organization or another one? I mean, how's that happen?
I go and visit these organizations. I talk with these people. I watch these organizations. So do the people that I refer, these organizations that I refer people to. They watch it. I go by your actions. Mm-hmm. I'm my father's son, man. Don't bullshit a bullshitter, or you gotta talk. As I said, I'm a man of it. Watch what they do. I watch how they treat veterans. I watch their intake process. I watch their websites. You're being watched, especially here in Connecticut and the region here. They know. There's a lot of things, right now with winter, I need to get a furnace for a veteran or a hot water tank. There are a lot of these organizations, they don't deal with issues like that. These day-to-day things, these hardships, paycheck to paycheck, rent. They don't deal with these issues. Or are you a combat vet? Or you get an organization that says, well, we only do post 9/11 vets. Or a disabled veteran organization that will just handle post 9/11 disabled vets. Or Vietnam disabled. Disabled veterans are disabled veteran. There's too much they focus, or we don't do that, or we don't provide an adaptive van for a paralyzed police officer. But I know the organization that deals with them, gives them for veterans, They're like, well, we won't give it to a police officer. I'm not asking you to. Can you help me out? Can you send me to someone where I can help this officer out who's been paralyzed for the past 30 years? Massive shooting back in 2001. 15 bullets went through him. Lucky he's alive. He needs a new van. His van's 20 something years old. We don't know how to help you. Bullshit. Just give me a contact to somebody. I'll navigate it. I'll find it. But it's just great. And collaboration, all these organizations, everyone's bidding for the same buck, is bidding for the same grant. If you go about it in another way and go, hey, Tom's strong point is this, Jay's strong point is this, their weaknesses are this. Maybe they should work together because they're going about this. They sound like they have the same mission. Why don't you help each other out? Collaboration, is it the end thing? I don't know. I think it is. I hope it is. Everyone's we do this and we do it this way, and we don't deal with anybody else. It's basic the human factor and greed and everything else like that. You have organizations competing against one another in the same area, in the same line of work to offset veteran suicides, but they're killing one another. Literally. Look back in the time with the environmentalists.
Yeah, a lot of what you're talking about. There's a lot of parallels, and of course, it's in the veteran community as well. But a lot of parallels with the addiction community, of trying to get people help who don't think they want help, but you can't do it for them. It's just boots on the ground and just being there for people. If I can ask you, where'd you serve, Tom?
I served the United States Navy, proudly aboard the USS Enterprise. I did 2 world cruises. Deployments all over the world. Very fortunate that way. But back to the thing of helping somebody and that veteran that walks in the door and sees me and they're like, well, what the fuck do you know? Shut up and sit down. I've been there. That's the factor of someone that's experienced it. You're not going to, all these mental health people and addiction coaches and everything else like that, that someone comes in that's got a doctorate. And through my experience, and I sit down with him, I'm like, very weary who I'm talking about. I'm highly educated. I know everything that there is to know about addiction. You do? Were you an addict? No. Did you know? It's the identifying factor of it. You can within 5 minutes talking to a veteran, especially on the phone, that I don't know why I'm talking to you. They suggested I talk to you, but within 5 to 10 minutes, they're listening. But the main key, people always ask with dealing with mental health issues, and I said this at ceremony, Veterans Day, to the general public. And this goes for everybody. If you stop, but we're talking veterans, if you stop and you meet a veteran and you ask a veteran how he's doing, stick around and listen to the answer. The key is listening. And then if you can identify, if you're truly empathetic to the cause, and if you can identify in some way, but if you could see in another human being, because I see it every day. If you look into them and there's no soul there, and they're not there, or into depression or different mental health things, it is stop and listen. Just stop. Everyone's talking about it and mental health and suicide. That's on the most part with the general public. It's all talk. Politicians, everyone else, it's all talk. I sit to these my local representatives have these little coffee meetings, these little town meetings, and I walk in the door and sit down like, oh shit. They are like, oh shit. You're in for a discussion. I had a local cop here. They voted all this stuff with taking funds away from the police and all that stuff. Local cop and Marine veterans sat down. He sat down in the back And he lambasted the shit out of them. Why did you vote that way? Because it was the popular thing to do? We need to do the right thing. Here's a guy, I was looking at him. That's how I was 20 years ago, coming in, going, seeing somebody and being angry. I still have anger in me today. We're not going to get into that whole thing. But this guy's been through some shit. And he's hanging on there by a thread. And now you got all these local representatives taking funds away from the police and mass retirements. It's where we are today. So we need to have and connect and collaborate with organizations and people to combat this. It's the way it's the new life now. It's the new way. And you just can't hide under a rock and hope it all goes away, like I did 30 years ago.
You turned that around. You got busy.
You're staring the devil in the face and you're meeting your maker and you're like, something intervened. Oh, I can tell you. Higher power, I have a God. Someone intervened and said, call your mother, stupid. And here's a woman who's had 8 kids, husband's an alcoholic, and half her kids are addicts. Okay. So she's Al-Anon, she's been through the loop. She automatically knew what was going on with me. It's probably the 24 conversation about my issue and my drinking. We were on the phone literally 5 minutes. She said, you were suicidal and your mother was on the phone 5 minutes. I said, yes. This is what she did, and she knows how to talk to me. She said, you know what to do, and she hung up the phone. Because there's no help. When you hit bottom, you have to ask for help. And the tough love and the enabling and all that other shit that all the other people around me, you love somebody, you're enabling them, then you're really not doing them any justice. So she hung up the phone. I was like, oh shit.
So what was your next
I was
move?
in a church basement the next morning in a 250-year-old church on the Delaware River up in Pennsylvania and haven't looked back since. It's going to be 30 years in September.
30 years sober.
And I know what it's like sitting there going, there's no way out. You don't know what to do. But you have particular issues and you decide that you're going to drown them out with alcohol or drugs.
Well, you gave me some links. I'll put those on the website. How can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more, if they want to help, they want to reach out?
My email address is tdorney@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook, as I said, Tom Dorney. It's just Tom, DOR ReGroupForVets.com is the website. If you're looking into, you want to help organizations that are going to directly impact these issues. I have a slew of them. But I've got a guy rehabilitating veterans in the Colorado Rockies with a pack of wolves. I shit you not.
Oh, man, I got to hear about that.
And it's working. And now he's in 4 states, and he's only been up and running 2 years. Mattersville. They're in Colorado, Kansas, Wisconsin, Mississippi, now Florida.
So what's the deal with that? How do wolves come into the picture?
Not only is he rescuing wolves, like if a local municipality or someone, they have a problem with a wolf or a wolf dog or that, is they rescue them. They partner the veterans to go out and rescue them. Then they build tiny homes and they pair the veterans up with the wolves.
Whoa.
And on the property in Colorado, this kid's smart. Every animal on that property is certified.
Certified what?
Oh, wow. I got this guy with a ranch for veterans dealing with mental health in my backyard, and he's got a pack of wolves on the property.
What do you mean certified?
They're certified mental health animals.
Oh, Wow. What's the name of that organization?
Mattersville. Mattersville. Drew Robertson. And he just got married. They're helping out a refuge down in Florida where she was the wife of a veteran. He just passed away, can't pay the rent. The property's falling apart, and she's got a pack of wolf dogs. They just went down there. They're rehabilitating the property. They're building new pens, and they're opening up a new location. And I'm like,
wow.
2 years you've been going at this. He offered me the COO position of his organization. So if I wasn't going to Texas, I was going to Colorado, the Rocky Mountains. And I'm like, because his best friend committed suicide, was a veteran, and he started it. And I'm like, you've done all this already. Yes. I've talked to him and everything else like that, and watch everything this kid does. And I'm like, whoa. You don't go after corporations for grants? No. You don't collaborate with any other organizations. I don't say that I never will, but they come to me. I don't have to go to them. That's how well he's doing, what he's being watched. Everyone goes to him. We want to help. And they're like, you're not afraid of someone getting mauled by a wolf dog? No. Just like with the equine therapy and all that other stuff. These wolves are kind of in the same situation these veterans are. So you're pairing them together. And you're giving each other unconditional love. And he builds a tiny home. He builds a platform bed. And under the platform bed is the wolf pen. And they pair you together. And you just watch the magic happen. Because it happens naturally.
That's incredible.
And he's got videos on TikTok. He's viral. He's internationally viral with his thing. But you go on and watch some of his videos. And watch what this kid's doing. And I'm like, I said, ReGroup and Mattersville have to partner up. He says, sure, I've got counselors. I've got all these workshops in place. Plus he's his corporate sponsor with Milwaukee Tools.
Oh, wow.
You volunteer on his property, you get a full Milwaukee tool set. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, I got the Milwaukee jacket right here. He says, they're a corporate sponsor. I said, holy shit. There's someone doing something right.
Yeah.
He's not a veteran, but he's just come into the situation and happened in his life, and he's very passionate about fixing the issue. And he's very successful at it. So he's like, I think he's like 35 years old.
It's interesting that he's not a veteran, because Veterans Cause is one of those things where people who may not be veterans and don't have it in their family it's sort of like the third rail for them. They're almost afraid to get involved. They might do something wrong, or they don't understand it, or they don't relate, or maybe they're not allowed to be in that community. But there's a lot of
met them all the time in the Veterans Lounge. They come in and I go, oh, you're volunteering, whatever. Oh, my grandfather was a Vietnam vet. But I'm kind of afraid to talk to them. I said, give it a chance. Give it a chance and whatever. And find a way. That's my secret. Find something to identify with. And they're like, they'll talk with you if you're the granddaughter of and you're involved in. And I volunteered, and I'm a psych major and all this other stuff like that. And then I watch them and I see these kids know what they're talking about, and they truly want to help, and they're passionate in doing it. But there is that stumble block, because when they walk in the door of the VA somewhere what's supposed to be their mecca, you got someone sitting across the desk disrespecting you. Plus they're reading off a template. Some of them are off. They're really sometimes, like anywhere, any organization or company that's overwhelmed or service, they're finding a way to get rid of you because they're overwhelmed. They're hiding files in a desk somewhere. There was a veteran in a veteran hospital, a veteran home, dead in the shower for 4 hours, and no one knew it. So you hear all these atrocities, but there's a lot of positive. It's like anything else in life. You have to know where to go I call it that old restaurant in your neighborhood where what do you eat off the menu? You have to know what to eat. You know what I mean? You have to pick and choose off the menu.
Right. That's a good
I'm the son of
analogy.
a restaurant manager. That's how I say it. Oh yeah, you want to go in there and have their freaking their shepherd's pie, but yeah, the hamburgers and all that the other chicken stuff, you really don't want to mess with it because you got to pick and choose like anything else in life, and you got to know, some of them are horrific stories, the experiences in the VA. That's why organizations like ours and the others that I know are in place. We know what we're doing because there's so many that have fallen through the cracks. You got guys committing suicide in the parking lots of VAs all over the country. If you really want to get and get an idea of what's going on and see the anger, watch Jon Stewart's new show, Apple TV. The first episode is free.
Mm-hmm.
Jon Stewart brings it to light, but he had the veteran guests about Gulf War and the fire pits and the treatment and the lack of treatment, and just your Congress and everyone else, and right back to George Washington, famous quote is, "You could always judge a country by how it treats its veterans."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you look to see what's happening. As you see on my synapse, that's my why.
That's right.
That's why I do what I do.
Well, Tom, obviously you're a man of passion, a man of action. I appreciate your time. There's no way.
My pleasure, and thank you very much for having me on.
Oh yeah, no, we just scratched the surface. I mean, I every time you get talking, I just can't rip away, and we could talk for hours and hours. But I do encourage people to reach out. Now you say regroup number4vets.com.
Yeah, it's the number 4, regroup the number 4 vets.com.
And of course,
The
Mattersville
ReGroup Foundation on Facebook. We have an actual Facebook page and people called regroupies.
Mm-hmm.
There are inside people, our volunteers, we call regroupies. Yeah, we have some nice names. The 2 Cents campaign. Watch the video. As I said, the bartender is going to be familiar. Listen to Antonio in the videos because he's been on his own since he was 16. Prison. He's been through it, but he interviews some guys, veterans on the street. That's one project that we're trying to get up and going. I have the son of the Navy SEAL senior chief from Extortion 17. That's when the 30+ special operation guys was shot out of the air in a helicopter back some time. Son, who's into videography, involved in this project where a couple of us are going to be interviewing homeless veterans all over the country and hear their stories. And people living paycheck to paycheck can identify, but I was talking to a corporate VP on the streets of Alameda, California when I was in the Navy, homeless. How did it happen? He says, I don't know. It happened like that. I lost my wife, my kids, my house, boom, I'm done. Here I am on the street for 5 years. It happened like that. I'm like,
where's that interview series going to be?
The interview series, it's in the works. I'll keep you abreast of it. A lot of it we're working through Convene Communities. So if you get on the Facebook page of Convene Communities, I'd like to get you involved on Convene Communities if you wish. I mean, we have podcasts and blogging, but get you meeting some of the people that are involved in the projects like this. And I hope to open up a collaboration community called Convene Collab or Convene Collaboration to get the people all together, the nonprofits and different people that want to help each other and collaborate, get them all in one spot, help each other out on this platform. But it's something you could check out for yourself in what in your background. Convene is an extension of Synapse. We have our Convene cities, our networking, but it allows you to engage and archive and engage and have your information or your mission or your passion live on and engage engage the community as a whole and keep it living is what Convene's main thing is. Matt and Keith and Brian and them we're always in discussion on what we're going to do and collaborate with one another, but we kind of do the same thing, but Convene is a whole platform, is a whole tool in itself. It's a tool.
Well, I know I'm going to see you sooner rather than later, and you say you were, speaking of Synapse, you're going to the Tech for Troops meeting tomorrow as we record this.
8:27 a.m.
Another good organization teaching veterans life skills, tech skills to make that transition or pull them out of a potential hole that they might be in. And there's just not enough of that work out there.
You see the frustration. Go on, get a veteran in transition off the battlefield onto a website. If they can't click and navigate to some place pretty quickly, or learn how to use the computer as a tool and use it effectively, they don't bother. They give up. 75% of the veterans I deal with here in Connecticut that are getting benefits are Vietnam vets, believe it or not. I didn't know we can do that. I didn't know. Never knew.
Man.
So a lot of them, it's too late.
And like you said, before they know it, on the street.
Or the Agent Orange guys.
On the street, yeah. Well, Tom, appreciate your time, man. Like I said, every time we talk, we're just scratching the surface, but there's a lot of good information here. I'll put this on the website. Send me anything you want, any links or anything like that, and I'll put them up. Well,
I will do. And keep an eye on my Facebook page and some of the posts and the organizations. But just like with Keith and everybody else, if I see an opportunity, whatever, I'll send you all the information. People get tired of me. They're like, oh, holy shit, the amount of shit. We'll keep it focused on some things. And I'll send you Drew Robinson's link in Mattersville and his TikTok stuff, man. It's awesome shit.
That'd be great. Yeah, like John Lewis said, you're making good trouble.
Hey, I'm my father's son. I'm always in the doghouse. My senator runs away from me.
That's a good sign.
He hears me. He said, "Yeah, you're on my Armed Forces Committee in my state. I need you to come out kayaking. How do you get senator out to an event?" I said, "Have cameras and a camera there. With news crew, he'll be there."
Oh man!
But I'm waiting for you to do something, Senator. I'm waiting for you to do. He's a great talker and picture. He's got a great smile. I don't know how it is around the country, but I'll leave you with this, everybody in my state. I said, "Are you aware? Look at the percentage of the representatives in the state of Connecticut. There's about 60% of them. What do they do for a living?" They're like, "Oh, I don't know. You don't know what your representative does for a living?" No, they're real estate brokers, bro. Cool. Anything else?
Thanks, Tom. Get some rest, man.
The first time I saw you on Synapse and you opened your mouth, I'm like, and you said what you do and your background, I'm like, duh.
Yeah, that's a happy accident. That's a happy accident. People think I got into voice work because I have a deep voice, but I was a musician and I didn't want to get a real job, so I went into radio and recording. But it's all, like you want to help a little bit, and it just at one point it was like, what skills do I have? How can I help at least a little bit? So I was like, start some podcasts, try to get the word out, talk to some people. So
you ask the right questions, you keep the flow of the conversation going. But I mean, what you're doing, and the titles of your podcast and the people you're talking to, I'm like, shit, interesting shit.
I appreciate your time as always, Tom.
Thank you much.
And your passion.
And thank you for what you do, and I hope to see you a lot.
Appreciate your passion, your service, everything, man. I appreciate it. You'll see me soon.
Thanks, man.
All right, Tom. Take care, man. Thanks, Tom. And yes, get some rest. Tom's always saying he doesn't get enough rest. So I was trying to let him go. But he is a passionate man with plenty to say, and that's perfect for podcasts and people trying to make a difference. Reach out to Tom and ReGroup and any of the causes and platforms and organizations you hear about here. I'll put as much of it as I have on the website. You can go to goodeyepodcast.com. That's all inside my website at jsmack.com. Please do go share, subscribe, tell somebody about the podcast if you want to get on here and have a conversation about some sort of positivity or trying to make a difference or curiosity, whatever you got. It's a platform for positivity. That's what, maybe that's the official tagline. I don't know. Not too worried about marketing. As I said, this is a service to have some positive or productive conversations. So thanks for your time, attention, and intention. And just by listening, you have a positive intention. I appreciate it. I know Tom appreciates it. And perhaps like-minded people, or not. You know, it's even better if we're not like-minded. It'd be really boring that way and wouldn't make for very good conversations, just telling each other how cool we are. So thanks for listening. GoodEyePodcast.com. We'll see you next time.